What do you want? That's a question we all have to ask ourselves. What do I want from myself, from life? What do I want in my spouse? What do I want in my family? Where are we going? What do you want? If you don't know what you want, then where are you going? That's something we really need to think about. I think a lot of us are just aimless and we're just going through life and we don't stop to ponder our path, ponder what it is you're doing. What's your trajectory looking like? Otherwise, you're just going through life. And I feel like life is worth more. We ought to pause and think. A lot of times we're just going through the motions. We move here, we move there. So an opportunity goes here. But do we have a clear vision? Have we stopped to think about what it is that we are doing or getting ourselves into? Does it even align with our core beliefs? We need to write down what it is that we want. We need to know it. And if we don't know it, we need to seek clarity. It's better to ask that question and then find out that you really have no idea where you're going. It's better to start asking those questions and then you figure out, okay, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'll be in 2 years and 5 years. That's okay. That's the power of the question. Asking the right questions of ourselves allows us to start thinking differently. Where am I going? What do I want out of life? What is my expectation for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years? What's my growth plan? Do I want to be at the same level? A lot of times we're just stagnant from year to year because we don't stop to ask the hard questions. It's not an easy question because this is something that's so core to who you are and where you can be. It is important that we pause to get that clarity because you can be aimlessly working at something and without clarity of where you're going, you can easily get distracted. Imagine you're somebody who is trading stocks, for example. I know because this is something that's personal to me. I do this, or I've done this rather, and I've shifted time and time again. And one thing I learned is you have to have your own core beliefs. You have to have your own vision that keeps you going. Because you can get distracted from shiny objects left and right. This shiny new stock today that promises some absurd return. And while those cases do happen, it's not true to who you are, and you cannot be consistent long term just jumping from one thing to another. You identify what is true to you and you move forward on that. This is clarity because when things pop up in your vision, no, you know what you're seeing and you're able to move forward. This helps in every single discipline, whether you're somebody who's trying to be a pro basketball player, trying to get to the top, whether you're an actor or an actress, whether you're a computer scientist, a software engineer, and you're trying to get to the pinnacle, you have core skills that you must work hard at. And if you don't know where you're going, it's hard to get there. I've given this example before. I wasn't particularly in love with software engineering or computer science. This wasn't something that I dreamt about all my life, but there was a need for it. There was a problem I was trying to solve. I saw myself in that situation and I moved in that direction. You must have clarity and have a reason why you're going where you're going. What is your why? What do you want? These are all questions. The what, no, the why. Ask yourself this. And it's something I'm asking myself too, right? And honestly, this goes back to vision. If you don't know what it is you're headed to or what you're trying to become, it's hard to move in that direction. And worse, if you do have some clarity, if it's not clear, you can easily be distracted. And that's not to say that you have everything figured out. And that's not to say you even know what you want, because how can you know what you want unless you start out, right? You might start out wanting one thing for yourself, but as you emerge and grow and experience what life has to offer in that point, you get more wisdom, right? You inquire from God and God says pivot. Like there's certain moments in your life where you get to expand and you get to use the resources of your environment, right? And then you can pivot. If you're an artist, for example, and let's say you're not at the top, but that is something you can see clearly. You can see you have the skills and you have the drive, right? Let's say you take the job that puts food on the table while you continue to work hard on your skills. The vision is the skills that is the outcome of the skills. You're going somewhere and you can see that clearly, right? You make sure you are consistent and you don't get distracted if that's really what you want. I think sometimes we think we want something and then we get on the path and then we shift because it's not really what we wanted. But at least we wanted something and we started in the first place. So what am I saying? Be intentional about where you're going, right? If you're gonna, if you have talked through it, prayed about it, and you have said, this is where I want to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, whatever else you're doing, you have to start seeing it as something that's supporting that task, right? That job that you're taking, that's not necessarily your passion or your vision. That is something that you have to do in the meantime while you work on becoming the kind of person that can have the result you're looking for. And you really have to be holistic about what it is you want, right? Because what you want might require you to go through very hard seasons. And that's just part of the package. That's just part of the story. In the previous video, I was talking about how as you're working hard, quietly, silently, you might have to go through moments where people haven't seen who you are going to be. And that is what I think is so true. This is why we get discouraged. The greats, they would work on their craft endlessly through their days, quietly, even before anyone knew they were going to be something big. And so the same thing, if you're chasing impact, if you're chasing something that is satisfying and gives you contentment at the end of the day and not just a paycheck. Don't get me wrong, work is work. At the end of the day, if you're doing good work and you're making good money or you're able to afford to exist and you're able to and you can be content and you're not suffering, then I think that there's already good in that. But then if we want to live an abundant life, if we want to get to a place where we're able to contribute, support meaningfully, and we actually care, I think that's when we have to really do some soul searching. That's where we really need to know what it is that we want. So think about that. I'm thinking about that, and maybe that's what's driving a lot of the discontent, where I'm trying to become a better person, all-round person. And that's given rise to this theme in my life of hope. Because a lot of times we get stuck in this world where we're miserable in a job that we didn't foresee ourselves doing for the next 10 years. We thought, okay, I'll do this and I'll support my dream. And then life happens and then we lose hope. We lose hope. We stop hoping again for our dreams. That vision becomes less clear. And without that hope, guess what happens? We stop seeing the invisible and we can't walk towards our dream anymore. So hope again. Start hoping again. It may make you start feeling uncomfortable because yes, there's something in you that says, I can be more than this. I am made for something more than this. And this will drive you to the next level. You ask God, Lord, is this where I need to be? You talk to the people around you. What do you think about me? What is my potential? So I would just leave you with this. There is more. You are made for more. And if you see that calling in yourself, start taking action. But pause to know what it is that you want. And remember, you may not know everything at the beginning, but be intentional about what you're doing with your time on this earth. Thank you. I'm Obi. I'll see you in the next video. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, And yeah, take care, guys. Bye.